So welcome everybody. Welcome Geshe Sherab. So glad to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, good to see all. And again, we'll start with a short breathing exercise to quiet our mind and bring our mind in moment present. Then we can try to have good intention, motivation for being here. The purpose of our life is to practice the Dharma and change and transform our attitude and our mind. So we can have less negative, disturbing emotions, which are the root of our own problem, suffering, and cause of suffering for others. And so we can improve and increase those helpful, positive emotions and thoughts, which are the root of our inner peace, happiness, as well as source to be happy, to bring benefit to others. And in order to practice the Dharma, we need to know the practice, as well as we need to be reminded of those practices. For that very reason, I'm going to listen and trying to implement and apply as much as possible whatever we hear, whatever we learn, whatever we find helpful, beneficial. May I ask coming together to listen, to reflect, contemplate. May all this become cause and conditions to obtain fully awakened state. So we can be most and greatest benefit and help to each and every sentient being. Okay. Can you check the refuge prayer? Maybe we can just do the refuge. Okay, thank you. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create to listen to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Sudan Soge Sonam La Chanju Padu Dani Gapaj Sagi Sheshe Gibe Sonam Ki Rola Penje Sanke Tuba Sangye Sudan Soge Sonam Chanju Padu Dani Gapaj Sagi Sheshe Gibe Sonam Rola Penje Sanke Tuba 예, 요즘에 손에 다와도 대방 매세 담배 촌이 되는 고담배로 자자 So last week we started with the verses where Atisha advised, whatever practice meditation we do, try to do wholeheartedly without two-minded, indecisive mind, and when we do practice, try to do practice with enthusiasm and without laziness. And throughout the practice, as well as in our everyday life, try to be mindful of our teachers, body, speech, and mind all the time, and especially our mind. Be mindful of our thoughts. And also he advised, as a way of practicing to reduce the self-importance and delusional pride, as well as to increase the loving kindness, compassion, don't search for the fault in others. And whenever we find any positive qualities in others, try to encourage, try to say to others, and giving encourage. And when it comes to our own fault, shortcoming, try to let others know, not to hide. On the other hand, whatever positive quality we have, as a way to practice humility, humbleness, and less self-important, try to hide your positive qualities. So I think that is what we went up to. And today, where it's called let go of craving for gain and honor and give up the urge for profit and fame. So again, letting go of attachment or craving, and again, craving or attachment. Can be very distractive, distractive from our practice, and from practicing the Dharma purely. And so, letting go of attachment to the material gains, as well as, service and honor from others, as well as, giving up attachment to, profit and fame, reputations, basically giving up attachment to eight worldly concerns. When we have attachment to eight worldly concern, then even when we try to practice the Dharma, our practice of Dharma does not become as pure, still stained by those eight worldly concerns, and those eight worldly concerns because of being attached to that. And so, the fame itself is not a problem. The profit itself not a problem. Material gain itself is not a problem. The service of honor itself is not a problem. But problem is when we get attached to them, when we're craving an attachment to them, then it becomes a problem. It's the object itself is not a problem, but it's the attachment towards them that become the problems. If we are not attached to that, instead, we have a strong love, compassion, and and we are not attached to that, then we can use all of those for the benefit for the other sentient beings, But when you are attached to that, even when we have fame, instead of using the fame and reputation for better purpose, we use for our own individual self-interest. Whenever we make a material gain, instead of being able to use for the greater benefit of many others, then again, we use it for our selfish, for self-interest. In that way, then, so in that way, then it instead of being benefit to others, then it's being used for self-interest, and that only increase self-importance, and through that, then again, it deteriorate our love, compassion, and benefit for others. So and then as using different meditations, mindfulness meditation, analytical meditations, different meditation to let go of any craving if it arises, and not to allow the craving to be lasting, but immediately recognizing that and immediately try to apply whatever antidote practice we might have, tools we might have, and to let it go, any kind of craving. And then slowly, as our practice get better and better, then the craving even doesn't arises. At the moment, even though craving arises, because we cannot stop craving, at least when the craving arises, we, through mindfulness, we recognize it, identify that I have this craving attachments, and then try to apply the meditation, the tools, whatever tools, and then without clinging to that, without grasping that craving, letting go as soon as possible, and slowly, as our practice get better and better, then eventually, we can be in a state that where even the craving even doesn't arise, even when our minds come in contact with the objects of those desire, even when we come in contact with the object of desire, it doesn't give rise to any desire or craving or attachments. But it is not easy at the very beginning. So at the very beginning, when the craving or desire, attachment arises, recognize that, and then immediately try to apply the antidote, meditating on impermanent nature of those objects of the attachments, meditating on essenceless of those objects of the attachments, meditating on frugality of the object of attachments, meditating on impermanent nature of the object of attachments, and meditating on emptiness of the attachment. So whatever method that is more effective for you individually to reduce the level of the craving and to let go of the craving, we try to apply whatever tools, meditation practice that you find more helpful, beneficial, effective. And then, there are many others kind of also meditation that you find in Shandvyavas and others writings. So try to apply. And the next is, cultivate love and compassion and make your bodhicitta staples. So, trying to cultivate true love and compassion, and again, true love is not same as ordinary love. Ordinary love is attachment. True love is non-attachments. With the true love, there is no clinging, grasping. With the true love, there is no sense of condition, attached conditions, expectations. So true love is sincerely, truly wishing the others to have happiness and cause of happiness. And not based on because they are my friends, families, not based on because I like them, not based on because they might be nice, helpful to me, but based on that they want to be happy, and and they have right to be happy, on the basis that they have wish to be happy and had right to be happy, on the basis of that, more anything than that, just on that basis. Not because I like that person, not because he or she was kind to me, not because he or she might be helpful to me in the future, not because he or she, looks, seems like nice and so forth, but based on that, because they want happy, they wish to be happy, and they have right to be happy. On the basis of that, then cultivating sincerely true wish to be them to be happy and to have cause of happiness, and also cultivating strong wish to see and lead them to happiness and cause of happiness. That is the true love that here Atisha is saying, encouraging us to cultivate that love, is that true love. And compassions and not sense of pity, pity and compassion, they're different. Again, here is again, feeling pity for yourself or pity for someone. It's not true compassion. Again, sometimes people can get confused, just as normal attachment to love, true love. Also sometimes people can also mistake sense of feeling pity and compassions. Again, compassions, just like love, true love, on the basis, the reason to feel compassion is again on the basis that individual or every sentient beings wish not to have suffering and cause of suffering. On the basis of that, then wishing them to be free from suffering and cause of suffering. Sincerely, truly, sincerely, truly wishing them to be free from the suffering and cause of suffering, and then making some commitments on the mental level, that you will try directly, indirectly to free them from suffering and cause of suffering, to free them from suffering and cause of suffering, and that is the compassion. So the true love and true compassion are kind of almost like, one is wishing them to happiness and cause of happiness. One is wishing them to be free from suffering and cause of suffering. And here in true love, compassion, not only wishing, but making taking the responsibility on yourself to lead them to happiness and cause of happiness, and to free them from suffering and cause of suffering. So that kind of love and compassion. And such true great love and great compassion is that give rise to the Bodhisattva mind. It is the root cause of the Bodhisattva mind. Is that true love and compassion is the one that give rise to the Bodhisattva mind. You can say supreme altruistic intentions or attitude. The wish to achieve your highest potential, fully awakened state, in order to be greatest help and benefit to all sentient beings, including yourself. That Bodhisattva awakening mind arises, or comes, or develops through that true love and compassion. The stronger compassion and love you have, true love, compassion, the stronger your Bodhisattva is. The more stable your love and compassion is, the more stable Bodhisattva is. It's like the more stronger root you have, the stronger the tree you will be. If your root of the tree is not strong, then when the wind blows, then even it is not big storm, even small storm can knock down that, And so the stronger root is, the more stable and stronger the tree is. In the same way, the more stronger and stable your root of true love and compassion is, more stronger and stable your Bodhisattva mind is. And so therefore, in order to cultivate that Bodhisattva mind, in order to hold that Bodhisattva mind stable, so it doesn't deteriorate and be knocked down by circumstances, situations, in order to hold it stable, strong, and to improve and increase more strongly, then stronger Bodhisattva and stronger love and compassion. And so then, out of such loving kindness, compassion, Bodhisattva mind, then, you try to bring that loving kindness, compassion, Bodhisattva mind into your actions. You know, it has to reflect in your actions. And your actions is not to hurt and harm others. And therefore, you try not to hurt and harm others. Instead, you try to be help and benefit to others. You know, and so therefore, in action, you try to avoid any actions that create pain, suffering to others, that bring suffering to others, you know, that creates suffering to others. You try to avoid it, and then try to engage into the action that bring more happiness, more joy in others' lives. So therefore, avoid 10 unwholesome actions. You know, so therefore, because those 10 unwholesome actions harms others directly, indirectly, some of them directly, some of them indirectly. You know, it harms others, it hurts others directly, indirectly, and so they will try to avoid any actions. So, you know, those such as in terms of through the body, you know, taking the life of others, you know, stealing, taking that not given to you, you know, engaging in sexual misconduct. In terms of the speech, you know, engaging into lying, untruthful, engaging in divisive speech, harsh speech, and engaging into, you know, meaningless idle gossips, you know. And then in terms of mental covetousness, ill will feeling, wrong view. And so among them, you know, some of them hurt and harm others directly. Some of them does not hurt and harm directly, but indirectly hurt and harm through those, you know, such as those very unwholesome mental state. You know, then that will lead you to engage in certain action that will then bring them to hurt and suffering indirectly. You know, so that because even though immediately when you have an ill will feeling, even though it doesn't hurt and harm others immediately, but with that ill will feeling, you know, with that, then you will take certain action, you will react certain way, you will respond certain way, and then through that, then it hurt and harm others, even though it might not immediately, but directly. So therefore, in that way, it hurts and harms others. So instead, then try to engage in the 10 virtuous actions that help and benefit others directly, indirectly. You know, so instead of taking life, you save the lives. Instead of stealing, you practice the generosity. You know, instead of, you know, engaging in sexual misconduct, then, you know, you engage in being faithful. You know, and instead of lying, being truthful. Instead of harsh speech, engage in gentle, loving speech. Instead of divisive speech, engaging in you know, speech that create harmony, that bring together. Engage with speech, instead of engaging in you know, meaningless idle gossips, engaging with something meaningful, you know, virtuous, beneficial, you know. And then in terms of the mind, instead of covetousness, practice non-attachment. Instead of ill will feeling, practice non-anger, love, compassion. Instead of wrong view, practice the right view. You know, so avoiding those 10 unwholesome actions, engaging in the 10 wholesome actions that help and benefit others directly and indirectly. And then next one, and make your faith and confidence be strong. So trying to cultivate strong faith and confidence in your practice, in your path, if you don't have a strong faith and confidence in your practice and your path, then also your result from such practice on the path will be also not so strong and powerful. More stronger faith, the more stronger confidence you have in your practice and your path, it gives you, more energy, more enthusiasm. And when you have more energy and more enthusiasm in your practice, then definitely your practice becomes more powerful. And if your practice is more powerful, the result will be better, quicker, better result, So in the teachings, they talk about, three kinds of faith. Delightful faith, and then wishing faith and conviction faith. In delightful faith, it gives examples, when you hear a name or when you see the pictures or when you are around that with someone, let's say a teachers, a masters, just by hearing or by being there or by seeing them, it gives you some kind of faith and delight and delightfulness in that. It could be person or it could be teaching, certain particular teachings, certain particular instructions. When you hear about those instructions or those teachings, that make you delightful, interested, wanting to hear more about it, wanting to learn more about it, whether it's the person or whether it's the teaching, the instructions. It gives you a sense of joy, sense of delightfulness, Then second, the wishing faith is then, then in terms of the teachers, you want to know more about that. You have a wish to know more about, understand more about it. And in terms of teaching also, you want to hear more, you want to listen more, and you want to actualize that in your mind. You want to wish to attend that, wish to attend the teacher, wish to attend the path, the practice, the teachings, And then after you have received the teachings and instructions, then you practice. Then you practice, you put into the practice, you apply into the practice. Having applied into the practice, having integrated, then you begin to see positive changes. Then you begin to see those teachings actualizing in yourself. The teaching becoming alive in yourself. It's not just those teachings are just information, but the teaching become alive in yourself. You started to cultivate certain level of love, compassions, for example, or renunciations, or you started to by applying those teachings, you started to see decreasing of your anger to a certain level, or decreasing or your attachment to a certain level, or increasing the faith in the Dharma or your path. So you begin to see something in your path. And when you see that, then you develop strong faith and trust in the path and the teachings, because you have experienced it and it's true. Your example is not because the Buddha or great master said this and that, but now you have tested it, you have applied it, you have integrated it, and you it's like you have tested in your lab and you found that was true. It was accurate. And so your convictions and your faith at that moment become very strong and unshakable, unmovable, And that is what the Buddha encouraged. Here is saying the way to make your faith and confidence strong. How can we make our faith and confidence strong? How can we make our faith and confidence strong? Towards our practice, towards our path, is first applying those practice, integrating those practice. And when you apply and integrate those practice, and when you begin to see the result of such practice, then your conviction, your faith will be unshakable, very strong. Nothing can destroy your faith and convictions, because it's not based on your conviction, your faith is not based on something outside, but something is based on your experience, your direct experience, based on your own, and so therefore that is what here to cultivate that unshakable, that irreversible faith and convictions. And to reach that point, then it's important to apply and practice and to see some result of your practice. Otherwise, at the very beginning, when you hear the teachings, it seems, oh, this is wonderful, I've never heard about it. It sounds nice, it sounds great, but after some time, you might lose the faith. But when we have cultivated through practice, no one can shake your faith. No one can shake your faith, And so that is how we can make our faith and confidence strong, through practice, and then
Geshe, I think we lost him.
Looks like he's back. Yep, I think Geshe froze. I think Karen was saying last week, sometimes the internet connection can be a bit wobbly.
Oh. Okay, he must know. Since he disappeared, I guess he'll come back.
Say hello.
He may not know. He may not know that he disappeared.
Good point. The wires in the back that the cable laid sometimes get chewed on by squirrels in the fall. So I'm not sure. I could go next door and see, but let's give it 5 minutes.
I think, yeah.
Oh, are you there? You're with Geshe Sherab?
I live next door to him.
Ah. All
Yeah.
right, we'll give him a minute.
So I get the same crummy internet from time to time.
So where are you?
Santa Fe. New
Oh,
Mexico.
you're in Santa Fe. Okay. Ah, here he comes.
There he is.
He has returned.
Almost. Ah, there you are. Welcome back.
Sorry, it seems like something happened to my computer and it said it got shut down and said there was some problem. And so anyway, we are talking about to make your faith and confidence strong. And so to make your faith and confidence strong, irreversible, unshakable, unmovable is by applying the practice and then experiencing little result of by experiencing the result of that practice. If you can do that, then so that is, and then with few ones, be content with what you have, and with gratitude, repay your kindness you receive. So not having too much desire, too much craving, because there is no end to desire and craving. There is no end to desire and craving. And if we follow desire and craving, we can never find satisfaction in our life. We can never find satisfaction and happiness in our life. We always, when we have one, we want two, we want a new one, even your old one, the functioning is just okay. But when a new one comes, you feel like you need to get a new one. You need to be upgraded with the new ones, that is what your desire, that is what your craving, that is your attachments leads to, and that is why, those big business corporations, how they make their money, they come every year, new ones, and people want new ones because even the previous ones are functioning they have everything that function there, but because they have a desire, a craving to want a new one, and so that can be with everything's, and so because of that craving and desire, and because you so badly once, if you don't get it, you feel something missing, and you feel, and so you are dissatisfied, you are unhappy, so therefore, if you follow, as Buddha said, if you follow the desire or the craving, there's no end to it. There's no end. And so therefore, instead of trying to follow desire and craving, be content with what you have and have a few wants, a few desires, basic needs, simple, basic, whatever we need, we need to survive, we need to be healthy, we need to have some certain level of security, to be able to simply practice, and practice the Dharma to be healthy, and for that we need something, but, that is why, those basic few wants and being content with what you have. If you can do that, then you will be happy no matter where you are, what you are. You don't have to be famous. You can be most happy not being famous. On the other hand, if you follow your craving desire, even you become most famous in the world, you will still be dissatisfied. You might be one of the most poor, but you can still be, if you have, little wants, very few wants, and if you are content with what you have, you can be homeless and you can be more happy than billionaires. Absolutely. People homeless who are talked about, and I haven't talked about whether, for whatever reasons, whether they choose to be or they are forced to be, but I've seen them more happy than others. Not everyone, I'm not talking about everyone's, but there are people, at least I've seen a couple of them I have met, and not only one time, I have met many times, and we have talked many times, and so therefore it doesn't mean. Another example, Milarepa was homeless by choice. He didn't have home, and so therefore he didn't. So, but he was most happy, So you might have nothing, but you can be happy. It's all about in your mind. It's all in your mind. It's all in your mind, and so therefore, and again, same thing. You might have bad health. At the same time, you can be happy. You can have good health. You can be very unhappy. It's all, is being content. I've seen people who have chronic illness, but who are still happy because they accept and they started to learn to be happy with that, and they are able to be happy with that. So therefore, that is what it is. We always think, to be happy, you need to have all these external things. It's all about external things. Doesn't necessarily, there are people who have physical discomfort, physical challenges, but mentally, emotionally happy in their life. And there are people who have everything's externally, but who are most unhappy, most dissatisfied. So therefore, here that is what it is saying, with few one, be content with what you have. What you have, whatever situation you are in, if you learn to be content and happy with that, you can be happy and you can be content. If you don't do that, then you can never be happy. You can never be happy. You can never be happy. If we follow the, if you have too much wants, too much desire, too much attachment, and not being content, then no matter what happens, no matter how much, no matter what situation, you will always be unhappy, unstable, unhappy. So that is the key, to be, how to be happy is to be content with what you, meaning, that you don't have any, attachments, always wanting better and more, and so on. And then with the gratitude, repair your kindness you receive, So trying to repay the kindness that you receive, with a joyfulness and gratitude to all sentient beings. So again, remember the kindness of all sentient beings. directly, indirectly, and then cultivating a strong wish to repay the kindness and trying to repay the kindness in whatever way we can, at this point, and have the wish to repay the kindness. Even we cannot repay the kindness now immediately, at least have the cultivating the intention, the wish to repay the kindness in future whenever we can, whenever we are able, but the wish to repay the kindness is always there. The wish to repay the kindness is always there. Never forgetting their kindness, never forgetting the kindness, and remember the kindness, and then the wish to repay the kindness. Of course, we might not be able to repay the kindness everything now. We don't have all the capacity, all the way potentials, all the needs, everything. But as long as we have the intention to repay the kindness, whenever opportunity arises, whenever you have the ability, opportunity, we will repay the kindness. One will be able to repay the kindness. So cultivating that, and and that is remember the kindness of all sentient beings. Yeah, directly, indirectly, some. Even if you look from many lifetimes, then everyone has been, most kind in so many ways. In certain times, they have been more kind, caring mothers. In certain times, they have been most kind, caring fathers. In certain times, they have been more kind, caring, wife, husband. In certain times, they have all been more kind, caring, grandparents. At a certain time, they have been more kind, caring friends. At a certain time, they have been more kind, caring children. And so in different ways, so many. But even in this lifetime, all the comfort we enjoy, it comes through the kindness of others, directly, indirectly, all the spiritual progress we make in our practice, it comes through the kindness of others. Some contribute directly, some contribute indirectly, and in terms of even in the future, achieving enlightenment, also through the kindness of other sentient beings. So they are kind on the basic, on the path, that is all. So through that kind of remember the kindness, recollecting and remember the kindness, trying to cultivate a strong wish to repay the kindness. And then whenever we are able, and trying to repay the kindness. So that is the advice. That's the advice, instruction. Overcome anger and arrogance, and let humility rule your mind. So again, anger. All the delusions or disturbing emotions are obstacles to the Bodhisattva path and for the cultivation of the Bodhisattva path and realization. But especially anger is very strong interference and obstacles to cultivate true love, compassion to all sentient beings. It is not possible to feel compassion for someone in the moment you are angry with that person. Of course, you can feel compassion later. You can feel angry now and you can feel compassion later. Or you can feel compassion now, you can feel angry later with one person, one individual. But when you are angry, you cannot feel compassion that moment. When you are compassionate, you don't have anger in that moment. So those two state of minds are totally opposing forces. So you cannot have both of them together at the same time. You can have both feeling at different time, even with the same persons, But here we are talking about, cultivating true love, true compassions all the time. Without that, you cannot have the Bodhisattva mind. Without the compassion realizations, you cannot have the Bodhisattva mind. And in order to have the realization, great compassion is not like a moment feeling compassion one moment and losing that another moment, It's not great compassion. It's that when you feel that day and night to all sentient beings all the time. Just like renunciations, the wish to achieve the enlightenment, liberations, and not attached to the samsara at all. When you have that feeling, not a moment, we can have that moments, sometimes. That is not a realization. You can say that a glimpse of that. When you have realization, you have that day and night, effortlessly, spontaneously. Same with the realization of loving kindness, compassion, great compassion. And so without great compassion, there's no bodhisattva, And so therefore, anger is one of the main, in terms of emotion point of view, one of the main obstacles, main interference to cultivate the bodhisattva mind, to cultivate true love, true great love and compassion and bodhisattva mind. And therefore, therefore in Bodhisattva's teaching, sometimes, the emphasis so much on overcoming the anger and practicing the patience, that is why, and yeah, we don't need to talk so much about the distractions that anger can do. Even though sometimes people feel anger is needed to make things happen, I think it's just totally misconception and wrong. You don't need anger to make things happen. You don't need anger if you have true compassion, bodhisattva, you can make things happen even more strongly and even more quickly than the anger, without hurting and harming others. With anger, even if you try to do something for someone good, you hurt someone else. That is what happens. With anger, even if you are trying to do something positive, something good, with anger, even you try to bring something positive changes, good changes, because of that anger, you hurt and harm others. But on the other hand, if you have true love and compassion, bodhisattva mind, you can do the same thing without hurting and harming others. Without feeling negative towards others, without having a bad feeling, an ill will feeling towards others, certain sections. But when you have anger, that is, always anger make you to discriminate. Even when you are trying to do something, it makes you discriminate. You are doing good for someone and then not for the others. You don't care others if other hurts, as long as you can help the one you wanted to help. So therefore, overcoming the anger is for your own peace, to overcome your own, to cultivate your own peace, to overcome your own disturbing mind, Secondly, by overcoming the anger, you also do not hurt and harm others. Otherwise, with anger, there's always the potential to hurt and harm others, directly, indirectly. Indirectly, there is always potential to hurt others when you have anger. Indirectly, there's always potential to hurt someone directly, and so therefore, you protect yourself, you protect others, and with that anger, it does not destroy your goodness, We have this goodness of love, compassion, and when we anger take over, then we kind of destroy that our inner goodness, our inner, it's like there's a small love and compassion seed. It's just starting to grow. It is there, and with that kind of anger, it's like you are what you call stand, put your feet on that, and it destroys that, so it doesn't allow it to grow. It doesn't allow it to grow. Now it will be very difficult for that plant to grow again, and that love and compassion to grow again. And so that is how, and so it makes much more difficult. It's much more difficult to cultivate true love, compassion, Bodhisattva. Therefore, one need to overcome the anger for your own happiness and for happiness of others. For your peace, for the peace of others. It's very clear. It's very clear. When someone's angry, let's say in a family gatherings or a gathering of sanghas or gathering of whatever gathering that is, when someone become angry and people feel that energy, then it destroys the peace there completely. Not only it affects the person who is going to it affects the whole environment, everyone around them. It makes everyone them uncomfortable. It makes everyone there in that, whether it's a small group, bigger group, everyone there, it makes everyone better uncomfortable. It disturbs everyone's mind there. It disturbs everyone's mind there. It disturbs everyone. It makes everyone uncomfortable. So therefore, overcoming anger is, of course, for your own peace, but also for the peace of others that is around you, And so, and the way to overcome the anger is through the practice of patience, and in terms of practice of patience, then you can see, if you read the, Shantideva's That's the Bodhisattva chapter 6, then the extensive analytical meditation, different analytical meditations, so many different analytical meditation. And so again, some of those analytical meditation you might find helpful, beneficial, effective, but some of them you might not find helpful, beneficial, because it is we all are different, and certain meditation techniques seem to be more effective and helpful to someone more than others. So we try to learn all these different techniques and try to see which one is more effective and helpful to you, and try to apply that, and you don't have to force yourself. If you want one particular analytical meditation technique, Shantideva discussed there, or any other masters discussed there, if you don't find that effective and powerful and beneficial too, you don't have to force yourself to do that. You just apply whatever you find more effective and helpful among all those different methods, different practice, because something you cannot find, something we do not find helpful, beneficial, powerful, another person find that power, same technique, same meditation, more powerful, more effective. Because our minds work not always the same way. So therefore, anyway, I won't go in all those different analytical meditations, so you can find in that different analytical meditation there, using, ultimate analysis, different ultimate, from the empty point, looking from the emptiness point of view to the object of the anger itself, and the person who is getting angry, also by seeing the impermanent nature of the object that you are angry to, impermanent nature of yourself, impermanent nature of the anger itself. As he said, he gave an example, impermanent and attachment, but we can use that for all others. What is there to be attached when the object itself is changing, downstory, and you yourself who is being attached, the subject who is attached, that you yourself is downstory, changing, the act of getting attached or attachment itself is downstory, changing, so, or if you look even from impermanent, not only that nature, but if you also look from that impermanent, what is the point of getting so upset and angry when we know you can be dead in next moment? That person can be dead in next moment. What is the point of holding such a strong anger, that because we both could be dead in an hour, we both could be dead in today. There's no point of holding such grudges, resentment, so through that kind of, again, from that impermanent point of view, again, recognizing no point of clinging, grasping, holding on such anger and so forth, and then, letting it go, and not to hold on that. And then all other different analysis. And then arrogance, arrogance is also, interference or obstacle to the bodhisattva mind, When you have arrogant, there's sense of superiority, yourself. That is what the functionings, the nature of the arrogant is, that you feel you are more superior than someone. And then because that feeling of arrogance and superiority, then there is always, when you have that feeling of superiority, there is always certain level of looking down on others, looking down on others, Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not obvious. But when you feel you are superior than others, then you are already putting down because you say they are less than you. In whatever field or area that you might feel superior, on basis that superior in that area, you feel the other is little less than you. And then when you feel you are superior and others are less than you in that, there's always certain level of, sometimes it's easy to see that, sometimes it's very subtle, but there's always some kind of, putting down or belittling, so yeah, and so that is again, that is opposite of true love, compassion, bodhicitta mind. Therefore, it is, in true love and compassion, bodhicitta mind, you cultivate cherishing thought for others. You cherish others. You cherish yourself, but you cherish others even more than yourself. You hold others more supreme than yourself. You hold others more supreme than yourself. That is how the bodhicitta, the Bodhisattva practice is, is learning to cherish others. Not only cherishing, learning to cherish others even more than yourself. And all the Lojong practice, as we said, is the Bodhisattva practice is learning to hold and regard others superior, and that through that. So therefore, such arrogance become an obstacle for your Bodhisattva path, your Bodhisattva realizations, and it become obstacles, hindrance, we will not be able to make further move if we have such arrogance. We will not be able to develop higher level of the Bodhisattva path and realizations. And also saying, I think nobody likes, even in some worldly point of view, people doesn't say it directly, but nobody likes people who are arrogant. Sometimes they might not be able to say it, they might not say it, or they might don't want to hurt someone and want to say it. But when they feel that energy of arrogance, when they feel that energy of arrogance, they don't feel good about that person. They don't feel good and nice being in that kind of energy or environment, and we can all see with our own experiences, and so how to overcome the arrogance? Instead of arrogance, then let humility rule your mind, and practice humility, practice the humility. Humility is the antidote to the arrogant, as the Kadamba master says, you try to practice by seeing there is no one below you except the water that runs under the ground. That is how they practice. They try to see they are the most, and same here, they try to see they are the lords in a way, and hold others more supreme and hold them higher. And if you can really feel from your heart in that way, then, we can stop a lot of negative feelings and energy arising. Lot of time we are hurt and harmed because of our ego and arrogant and ego is hurt. And when you practice this humility and sense of not just pretending, but really from your depth of the heart, you are Lord and others are more supreme than yourself. Others are more supreme than yourself. There's less ego, less arrogant. And when you have less arrogant, when less ego, someone doesn't treat you well, you don't get hurt so much easily. Someone doesn't respect you so much, you don't feel so hurt easily. Someone doesn't respond, react, you don't feel hurt and harmed. So you experience less pain and suffering. And you get less upset by their actions and behavior. And so, again, you don't have to feel negative towards them. The reason why we feel negative towards them is because we feel they were disrespectful for me, they were ungrateful to me, they were arrogant to me, all of that. And therefore we feel hurt, and then we start to feel negative towards them. But if we hold ourselves as lords, then you don't feel people being, even someone, you don't feel this being disrespectful, even someone being disrespectful from the other side. And if you don't feel that, it's wonderful. You don't have to feel hurt. And you don't have to suffer. And you don't have to get upset by that, and that is what one of the things His Holiness Dalai Lama, he always also said, he said that really helped him a lot, that he holds himself sometimes, when he holds himself as the kind of lords of all, even laws, like when the Chinese government officials, when they react or respond, or when they criticize and whatever, His Holiness practice, trying to hold himself lower them and, hold them high, and then it doesn't, affect him so much. So again, and instead feel compassion for them, so again, if you look all over the world, if you look all over the world, it is the people who practice humility that has been much respected by the rest of the world, not the people who are arrogant. Not the people who are arrogant. Look at someone like Mother Teresa, look at like Mahatma Gandhi, look at like His Holiness. All of them, with so much humility. And that is why, regardless of your belief, everyone respects them very highly. Everyone respects them for highly. For, of course, many of their qualities and practice, but also one of them is humility. Even though they have done everything else they do, but if they were kind of arrogant, I don't think they would have the same respect they have, even though maybe they might have helped a lot of beings, a lot of poor beings, a lot of those who need, vulnerable ones. But if they're not only helping, but if there's sense of kind of arrogant and that, they will not be able to have the respect that they are able to get from all. So that just showed that. And then next two is talking about the wrong livelihood and right livelihood. I think maybe I don't know, maybe we'll stop here today. I can take a couple of questions because maybe I would like to open for questions. So if there's questions, please unmute yourself. And
I see Karen has a question.
Yeah, I have two quick ones. You said, quote, how to be happy is to be content. So
Mhm.
I'm a little confused. So where does the suffering of the Four Noble Truths fit into that? If you're happy and content, I don't, they seem diametrically opposed.
Well, even you practice happy, first of all, we have this samsaric body. So you still have to experience illness, aging, death. We cannot escape that. You can be happy, but still, physically, there's a discomfort. You have to deal with sickness, aging. When we talk about happiness, we are talking about mental state of mind. I can have pain physically, but I can be happy. But still, I would wish if I don't have to have this. If there is no physical pain, that will be even better. But it is there. It is there. I cannot. But so therefore, I can try to do whatever they are. If there is any kind of solution to fix that, try to do that. But other than that, just try to be content and happy with that. So
that physical pain, I mean, suffering is not only physical but mental. So how? Yeah. Okay.
I'm coming there. So I'm just saying on physical level, but also we learn to be happy, but still there is a delusions, the karma. As long as the delusions, karma, still you're on samsara, and being under the control delusion itself is suffering. So not having a total control over your own mind and your own afflictive emotions, that itself is suffering. So again, we try to be happy as much as we can, by practicing the content. That means that all the suffering will go on like that. The more content you are, less craving, less attachment, the more happy it is talking about that.
So the superiority thing, it was very interesting talk. How do you distinguish between striving for excellence and this superiority and arrogance that you're talking about? I'm thinking specifically, for example, of the Olympics, where you've got gold, silver, bronze that recognize excellence, and they're better than the others that competed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not in question.
Yeah.
So how do you, well, in terms of, I'm talking about things like running races where you have an actual time and that's not arguable. And also the distinction between humility and self-confidence, I find kind of confusing. So if you could elaborate on all that.
Yeah, someone can have self-confidence at the same time humility. It is a good example of His Holiness Dalai Lama. The Bodhisattvas are the most self-confident beings, but at the same time, they are the most practice of humility. In terms of their self-confidence, in terms of their ability or their capacity or their potentials, in terms of their practice, they have no doubt. They have very strong confidence with that, with their potential, their practice. But in terms of humility, they don't regard themselves, I'm more superior than them, I'm better than them. They don't see in that way. They just And that is where the competitiveness in that, the problem is that competing yourself, then competing with others. And that is more positive. Competing yourself means trying to get better with yourself next week than today, next month than today, or next year than this year, instead of competing with others. And then, and that competitiveness and superiority, that is a big problem in the society. That is where a lot of people, even though they are doing great, but then they start to compare with someone, and then they feel I'm second, I'm third, I'm not unworthy unless I win the gold or I'm in the first, instead of seeing that I make a progress, in terms of number. Maybe before I was running after, below 9 or 10. Now this year I was able to run, within the 9 seconds or whatever. So even though you see there is an improvement, instead of being grateful and gratitude with that, you feel you are a failure and you are not good enough because you compare that. So anyway, so that one, it seems like this is a big, to me, it seems like this is a big problem in the society, especially young now. You have to be on the top. If you are not on the top, it is almost like you are a failure, even though instead of saying you are encouraging somehow. And
well, it used to be that way. It used to be that way a lot, especially in sports. But I mean, one thing that's encouraging was the development of the concept of personal best. And that now, I think a lot of competitive people, whether it's in sports or business, that have any sense in their heads, tend to view it that way rather than comparing themselves to others, which is a healthy development.
mm-hmm. So so I don't think there is talking about the self-confidence and the humility, there is no contradictions to have those both qualities, and then trying to improve yourself or achieve excellence, at the same time not be carried away by the arrogance, sense of superiority others. It's more about how can I do better? How can I improve better? It's nothing to do I'm more superior or others superior or less than that. It's more about how can I improve myself? How can I do better, But the sense of superiority is more with comparing with others, I'm better than you. That is the sense of superiority. Whereas sense of wanting to achieve excellence or improve yourself doesn't have to compare with others in any way. You just try to trying to improve yourself better than now. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Just one comment, Geshe.
Yes.
It all sounds, so easy and so hard to do.
Yeah, true.
It's easy to understand, but so hard to do.
Yeah, that is most of the Lojong practice, most of the Bodhisattva path is that, especially when it comes to the method. I think when it comes to the wisdom, even understanding is not so easy. When you go more details, different tenets, different school of thoughts, different view, and then especially specific subtlety differences and prasangika point of all this subtlety. There are so many subtleties. Sometimes a lot of people doesn't see those subtleties. They seems and so anyway, those are even intellectually difficult to understand. But I think many of those, the method side, the loving kindness, compassion, bodhisattva, and the practice that is described in Lojong. Definitely, intellectual understanding is not so difficult, but definitely when it comes to the practice, and that is why I think we need to be reminded all the time. Is sometimes, and that is what my teachers always used to say, and always all the teachers, even the same text, even though you are understood, you have to read 100 times, 1,000 times. Each time you can get a little bit more, or each time you get reminded, because, and so again, so when sometimes we hear teaching, we read the teachings, we get reminded, and we might be inspired for a days, 2 weeks, maybe, or a month, but maybe after that we started to kind of lose a little bit, and then again studying, or again whether it's hearing a teaching or reading ourselves or somewhere studying, then again maybe we get inspired, and that's why we need to pour the water again and again. That is the same thing, like when I go to like His Holiness teaching or something, for days or weeks, you get very inspired, and you try to be a little better than normal, because of that, you get that kind of inspiration in that moment, but then it's hard to hold on that same inspiration for a long time. And again, so again, going for another teachings, whether His Holiness or Lama Zopa Rinpoche or someone else, again, that gives you some inspirations, So that is what it can be, of course, going to someone's teachings, or it can be self-studying ourselves, as long as we try to give water to that inspiration, so that we can continue to apply it every day, not to forget them, because we understand here, and then next moment we leave this class, and then something happens, and we are back to ordinary normal, and
Yeah,
so
habits are so strong, Geshe.
yeah, and so thing is that we need to bring it back when you go to the outside of the teaching place, the meditation place, whatever that is the key. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Dedications. Due to the merits of this virtuous action, may I freely attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel Bodhisattva that has not arisen, arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Maybe we don't have, maybe okay. Maybe next time, maybe we can just read this one, the Shantideva. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank
See
you,
you next
everybody.
Thank you, Sheila.
See you next.
Thank
Bye,
you.
See you all.
everyone.
See you all next week.
See you next.